Hi, what's going on, everyone? This time I will create a tutorial still related to STB goldhen activator. But this time, I will use STB model B860H and the latest version of Armbian that I downloaded directly from the official Armbian website, which is definitely more stable. For the Pi PWN script, I will use the latest version of the stooged script, which now supports a web server. This allows us to configure the script through a web page, and we will explore the functions of each setting menu available there. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. Here are the tools and equipment we need. First, of course, is the TV box itself. I will be using the TV box model B860H, and this TV box is already rooted. You can also use this tutorial for the TV box model HG6HOP. Next, we need an HDMI cable to connect the TV box to the TV or monitor. An Ethernet cable will be used to connect the TV box to the PS4 during the jailbreak process. We also need an SD card, which will be used to run and install Armbian on the TV box. This SD card is only a temporary solution because we will be installing Armbian on the TV box's eMMC or internal memory. Lastly, we need a keyboard. This will also be used only temporarily during the initial setup of Armbian. For subsequent use, we will remote into Armbian via the PWN application. Okay, the first step is to download the Armbian image file. Let me explain a bit first. A few days before making this video, the Armbian image download page looked like this. Of all the Armbian server versions available here, only Armbian Jammy with kernel version 6.6.31 supports the DTB file. The DTB file is necessary to enable Wi-Fi, as Wi-Fi is disabled by default in Armbian. Now, as I make this video, this page has changed, and the Armbian Jammy version I used before is no longer available. I have tried all the Armbian server versions here, but none are compatible with the DTB file, so Wi-Fi remains inactive. Therefore, we will use the Armbian image file that I had downloaded previously. The link is in the video description. Okay, once the Armbian image file is downloaded, the next step is to flash this image file to the SD card using the Rufus application. The link to the application is in the description. To do this, insert the SD card into the computer and open Rufus. Make sure the SD card is selected and ensure that there are no important files on it, because the SD card will be formatted. Then, drag the Armbian image file onto Rufus. Finally, click Start to begin the flashing process. Click Yes and OK on the warning prompts. Wait for the flashing process to complete. Once you see the status ready like this, the flashing process is finished. Next, we will add the DTB file to the boot folder on the SD card. This is to enable Wi-Fi because, as I mentioned earlier, the Wi-Fi on the TV box is disabled by default. Additionally, we will edit the extlinux file and rename the U-boot file so that the TV box can boot from the SD card. Before we proceed with that, in the latest version of Armbian, the SD card will not be detected in Windows Explorer after flashing. To resolve this, we need to install an additional application called XT2 Volume Manager. The link to the application is in the description. I have it installed here, so let's open the application. Make sure the SD card is still connected to the computer. Once opened, look at disk 1 at the bottom. This is our SD card, which is divided into two partitions. We need to activate only the boot partition. To do this, right-click on the FAT32 line, which is about 500 MB in size, and select Assign Drive Letter. Now you should see Drive F assigned to our SD card at the top. Next, go to Windows Explorer, and you should see Drive F with the name ARMBboot displayed. Click on it, and first, we will rename the file ending in 912 to uboot.ext. Then, we will copy the DTB file to the DTB amlogic folder. I have already downloaded the DTB file. and the link is in the description. First, we need to extract it. Then copy the DTB file to the DTB amlogic folder. Once done, copy the file name to avoid typos, because we will need to type this DTB file name later. Next, we will edit the extlinux file to add the DTB file we just copied, so that it can be read by the system. To do this, go to the extlinux folder, then right-click on the extlinux.conf file. We will edit it using Notepad. Add a new line and type fdt followed by a space and the path to the DTB file. Paste the file name we copied earlier. Don't forget to save the file. Okay, the flashing process of Armbian to the SD card is complete. Next, eject the SD card and insert it into the TV box to boot Armbian from the SD card. Connect the TV box to the TV or monitor, and also connect the keyboard to the TV box. Alright, the TV box has booted. During the first boot, we are prompted to create a new password. Please set your Armbian password and type it again. Select Bash by pressing 1 and then Enter. We are then asked to create a new username. We can skip this step by pressing Ctrl+C. Okay, now we are in the Armbian system. Next, we will install Armbian to the internal memory of the TV box or the eMMC. To do this, type .install.aml.sh and press Enter. Now we wait for the process of copying files to the eMMC to complete. Okay, the copying process of Armbian to the internal memory of the TV box is finished. We can see the message, Complete Copy OS to eMMC displayed. Next, we will reboot the TV box with the SD card still inserted. To do this, type the command reboot. Once the TV box restarts, log in as root. Enter your Armbian password. For those who don't know, when you type the password, no asterisks will appear, unlike when creating the password earlier. Just type your password and press Enter. After successfully logging in, turn off the TV box with the command power off. Now you can remove the SD card from the TV box. Next, power on the TV box without the SD card. If the TV box successfully boots into the Armbian version we copied earlier, then we have successfully installed Armbian to the internal memory of the TV box. Next, we will connect the TV box to Wi-Fi so that we can remote into the TV box using PuTTY, and also install the Pi PWN script from the internet. Okay, first log in as root and enter your root password. After successfully logging in, type the following command. Then use the arrow keys to highlight Activate a connection and press Enter. Next, highlight the name of your Wi-Fi network under WLAN 0 and press Enter. Enter your Wi-Fi password and select OK. Once successfully connected, indicated by a star symbol, exit by selecting Back, and then Quit. Next, we need to find the IP address of the TV box to input into PuTTY later. Type the following command and look at the WLAN 0 section. The IP address of the TV box is listed after the word inet. Once we know the IP address of the TV box, the next step is to remote into the TV box from the computer. Run the PuTTY application. Link to the application is in the description. Enter the TV box IP address in the hostname field. leave the port as default. Save the hostname and port so you don't have to re-enter the IP address each time you remote into the TV box. Next, click Open to remote into the TV box. If a warning message appears, click Accept. Now we are in the PuTTY terminal. Log in as root and enter your password. After successfully logging in, the next step is to install the Pi PWN script on the TV box. First, we will open the GitHub website for Pi PWN stooged. Copy all these command lines. You can either block and copy all of them, or click the box icon here. Next, paste the commands by right-clicking in the PuTTY terminal and pressing Enter to start the script installation process. Wait for the installation to complete. Next, we will perform the initial setup by answering the questions here. These settings can also be changed later on the web page. As I mentioned earlier, this latest script version supports a web server, which I will show you after this. For the questions here, I'll answer them directly, and we can review the settings on the web page later. Specifically, for the first question, make sure to answer N, so that the script we use is the Pi PWN CPP version, which has a faster jailbreak process compared to the Python script. Note here that the PPPoE user and password fields on the PS4 must match what is entered here. If you want to change them, you must also update the user and password on the PS4 accordingly. Also, make sure that ETH0 is selected here. If it's not, select Y and then choose the number for ETH0. Since ETH0 is already detected here, I will choose N. Ensure that you answer N here as well, to allow certain PS4 models that previously couldn't be jailbroken to be jailbroken using this TV box. Okay, once done, the TV box will restart automatically. After the TV box restarts, we will go to the web settings page, as I mentioned earlier. To do this, open Chrome and enter the TV box's IP address. This is the interface of the latest version of the Pi PWN script web settings. Now let's discuss the functions of each menu here. We'll start from the top. The leftmost menu, Load Payload, allows you to send a payload to the PS4 from the TV box. However, if you want a simpler option, you can directly load the payload on the PS4 from the exploit host that you've previously cached in the PS4's web browser. Next, the Restart Pi PWN menu is used to restart the script without turning off the TV box. The menu next to it is clearly for restarting and turning off the TV box. The last button, Update, is for updating the script if a newer version is available. This way, you don't need to copy and paste commands in the PuTTY terminal. Just click here, and the script will update itself if there is a newer version. Now, for the menus at the bottom. First, Interface is used to select the Ethernet port that connects the TV box to the PS4. If you are using an Ethernet adapter, you will see more than one option here. Next, firmware version is one of the advantages of this new script. If your TV box is used for a PS4 with a different firmware version, you can simply change it through this web page. There's no need to copy the Pi PWN script installation commands from scratch in the PuTTY terminal. Below that, you can set how many minutes the script will automatically restart itself if it hangs. LED activity has no function on the TV box. It is more for Raspberry Pi. Next, under the Pi PWN Settings Options menu, make sure the first option is unchecked to support all PS4 series, including the cursed PS4 series that previously could not be jailbroken. Next, check this option if you are using an Ethernet adapter. Further down, if you check this box, the script will first check if the payload goldhen is active on the PS4 before proceeding with the jailbreak. This will, of course, make the jailbreak process take longer. Below that, the option to display the jailbreak process log can be enabled. This is very useful if you want to monitor the jailbreak process from your phone or directly from your computer. Here's a screen recording from my smartphone, so we can monitor the jailbreak process without connecting the TV box to a monitor. It can be viewed directly from the smartphone. Similarly, on the computer, you can access it through a browser on the smartphone by entering the TV box's IP address. This way, you can change script settings via smartphone as well, not just from a computer. However, make sure both the smartphone and the TV box are on the same network. Further down, check this option if you want the TV box to access the internet from the PS4. It's advisable not to check this option to avoid the risk of the PS4 firmware being updated. Below that, there is an option for blocking DNS. Finally, if you check this last option, the TV box will shut down automatically after the goldhen payload is successfully activated. Don't forget to click Save if you make any changes here, and then click the Restart Pi PWN button. Okay, that concludes the tutorial on how to install Armbian and the latest version of the Pi PWN stooge script, along with an explanation of the settings menu on the Pi PWN webpage. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for visiting this channel, and see you again in the next video.